After 15 years of making art, I progressed a lot, not only in the technical side, also in the creative and design aspect. And I think it's time to put my skill to the test and see how far I've come by remaking 3 old drawings. One from my childhood, that was around 17 years ago, another from my teenage years, that was around 10 years ago, and late teen starting adulthood, that was 5 years ago. So, starting with the first drawing that I made around 17 years ago, I was like 6 at the time, and this is supposed to be Bowser fighting Mario. Now, some of you will recognize this because this is the drawing that I showed on the video about transforming characters to weapons. So I did this charming drawing after playing the new Super Mario Bros. On the DS. For the remake painting, I did 4 sketches, because I didn't know what type of composition I wanted to use. Also, as you can see on the original drawing, there's not much to have as reference. Like Mario doesn't have a mustache, the legs look like a tractor has crushed them, and those arms have length problems. This whole drawing is absolutely criminal. Now, let's be honest, the biggest problem here is not Mario, it's Bowser, or whatever the hell is even that. What I still don't understand is why the fuck I did 3 pairs of different limbs. Also, those circles are supposed to be muscles, and for some reason only has it on the back legs and the neck. This is absolutely cursed, and I think that's the reason why I love it so much. But even though it's a silly drawing, I wanted to represent the epicness that I had in my mind at the moment. And if I wanted to add seriousness to the drawing, I knew I had to do a desaturated painting with a lot of ambience, and that volcanic smoke and weather would be perfect for that seriousness. Also, that thick layer of smoke, yes, you guessed it, is for painting less, hiding big parts of the background and Bowser's body. But also it has another purpose, depth. Yes, this is a great way to add depth. It helps to sell the idea of the large size of this monstrous version of Bowser. Another important thing is clarifying the focal points, and because the whole painting is desaturated, I decided to use saturation and brightness for that. And you can see that these focal points are the eyes of Mario and Bowser and the mouth of Bowser. Having simple and clear focal points helps a lot in this type of paintings, where there is a lot of a mess. The last thing that I want to tackle here is Mario. If you noticed, I made him darker, because we have him very close compared to the other elements, and that also serves as a way to communicate the size and the scale of everything. Because if we have Mario established close to the camera, and we have an idea of the size of him, then everything around him gets into scale very easily. And yes, it's true that there is a lot of things that I could do better here, but this painting was made in less than 3 hours. So I think it's understandable that I did some mistakes. Also, I make my drawings and paintings very quickly, because the quicker I do it, the less my PC will crash out when I speed up the recording. And here you have the final painting, and I have to say it, for an under 3-hour painting this is very good. And here you have the direct comparison with the old one. And I know that I didn't follow the original Bowser design, but there was no way that I did the original design and people understanding that that thing is Bowser. So yeah, very happy with this one. The next one was a character that I did around 10 years ago. So I was like 13, and I want to die out of the shame that I feel when I see this one, because this character is called Bikuta, and he is 20 years old. By now I'm pretty sure that you already noticed but if you haven't, let me explain. If you put my name in Google Traductor and translate it to Japanese, comes out Bikuta. So yeah, this is supposed to be me at 20, and I have to say that I don't look like that. For starters, I don't have that much hair. In fact, I shave it leaving some hair, so I'm not completely bald. Basically because I hate going to the barber shop. Also, I obviously don't wear a massive katana. I don't have scars on my face, and I'm way more fit than that. So in real life, I'm not like a cool sword master, I'm more like a short buffed goblin that goes around the house, tired of life and laughing at my own jokes like a psychopath. Now for the new remake, I tried to follow the aesthetic of the original design, and I did not use my actual aspect. I was trying to replicate and boost the coolness of this guy, while staying as faithful as possible with the source material. As you can see, I took a slight different approach on the painting style for this one. And that's because I use these videos as a fun exploring experience. And here I was doing a slight stylized style, playing with the shapes of the shadows and using more saturated colors than the previous one. And I think that you can start seeing some difference between the original and the new one. For example, the hair on the new one is still a spiky hairstyle, but it's shorter, so it makes more sense and I don't lose an eye on the process of making it. Also, the amount of blood is reduced considerably, so it's not that much of a mess. Also, I changed the pose for one that is reaching for the katana, so it's even more clear that he's fighting or something. If I'm honest, I don't remember too much about this drawing. By the way, if you are liking the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And here you have the final painting. And honestly, I'm happy with this one, even though it has a lot of problems, like the hands. Let's not talk about the hands. This painting has been made in an hour and a half, a very good time in my opinion. If these were speedruns, this would be a great run. So, for the last one, we have the magnificent green blacksmith, which is like a fan art of Hephaestus, Greek god of blacksmithing. I did this 5 years ago. In fact, we have the exact date because I uploaded it on Instagram the day after making it. So it was made 26th of November of 2020. Fun fact, at that time I used to use Procreate for painting. So, around there I started my journey on digital paintings, and also on applying colors on my drawings, which was horrible. If you didn't notice, I used black for shadows, which is not a good idea, because your shadows will look very dirty. Also, I used every single brush that I thought it was cool, without having consistency, and I was very lazy while painting back then, which is funny because I'm still very lazy. But you know what? At that time, I had a lot of fun making it, and for me, it didn't matter if I was bad at color, painting anatomy, perspective, materials, and more. I was having a good time getting immersed in the paintings while expressing myself, which by the way, at the time, I knew I was very bad. But that's the thing, I didn't care. And making videos for this channel helps me to remember to have fun and explore things while painting. Like, don't get me wrong, being technical and try hard helps, but you have to complement that with joy and relaxation. And it's interesting to say that after painting the god of craftsmanship, which, curious enough, for a long period of time, was my favorite Greek god. So going back to the painting, the old one was a very dark painting, even being a little creepy, and honestly I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have a different approach while still having the original as reference. I wanted to make him immerse in his creation and his work, instead of a doomed person that is working in the filth and the dark. make someone that is in his own space fixed and focused on making something. And I did that by first changing the point of view in a more close look, so it's more private and personal. This way you can have a better look on what he's doing. Also, I eliminated the background that, yes, again, I did it so I had to work less, but that's not the only reason. It gives no distraction. It's only you and him. You watching him work and him focusing on the craft. And in this perspective you have a better look in the eyes that are as open as they can, locked in place, looking at his creation. Something that I like is the tools. He is not using fancy tools. He has a simple smithing hammer that gets the job done, has a simple anvil and a heated piece of metal, a couple of leather gauntlets and a blacksmith apron. But what I think that is the best part here is the warm, comfy light. And to obtain this type of light is crucial to not get too bright and coating the things of the color of the light. Also, the fact that the light is orange helps a lot, because orange is a very comfortable color. And the last thing that I have to say is that here I had the approach of a more rough render style. And honestly, I thought that this type of painting with a hard brush would add to the vibe of the character. And honestly, I was completely right. And after 2 hours of drawing and painting, here you have the final piece. And I'm very happy with this one. Even though after I finished it, I started to make some anatomy arm studies because I noticed that I forgot how to draw the inner side. So don't forget to tell me your thoughts down in the comments. I always love to see what you have to say. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video and a hug to everyone. Bye!